Number of people who say they're interested just keeps growing.
It was a joke, but one the Air Force is taking seriously. A Facebook post.
Matty Roberts created the viral event that's taken the internet by storm.
Do this, and I'm just like, oh my God.
About UFO encounters like this one.
I claim this planet in the name of Mars.
And what started out as a fun thing is no joke.
1 million UFO enthusiasts on Facebook say they'll storm Area 51.
Where conspiracy theorists think the government has aliens on ice.
Watch out! Area 51, one of the most secure and highly protected pieces of property on the planet.
Tens of thousands of curious people have trekked out to the desert to take a peek, set off a stampede.
I think people should wise up and understand it's an active military base. It's not a game.
We're on live. We're doing it live.
Take me to your leader. Welcome, Earthlings, to Geeking Poetic Podcast. Yeah.
We're off to a great start, man.
As always.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
It has been a hot minute.
It has been a hot minute.
Yeah.
Since we've been
Literally,
here.
because it's hot in Chicago this past couple weeks here.
Speaking of hot, we're going to talk about a hot topic, and I don't mean the mall store either.
I remember Hot Topic.
Do you remember Hot
Are
Topic?
they still around?
Yeah, they're still around.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they are what they once were.
Yeah,
but, you
that's
know.
true.
But we are going to talk about, here on Geeking Poetic Podcast, we're going to talk about Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are we going to talk about Area 51, because we've wanted to talk about this.
We've touched on it before.
Right. And we've wanted to expand on this a little bit more. And suddenly we were presented with the perfect opportunity to talk a little more about Area 51, because recently there's been a thing.
A little thing.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a thing. Meg, do you want to explain what the thing is we're talking about?
All right. So there is this, 20-year-old kid,
Yeah.
Matty Roberts,
Which is,
clearly related to Larry
Yeah,
Roberts.
for sure.
you know, when I first found out, I saw the news report of this kid, and it was like, Matty Roberts. And I'm like, oh, it would figure his name's very similar to mine. And then they show him, and he's this long-haired metal
Really?
kid.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't see his face.
He's got real long
That's
hair, and he's a
hilarious.
total goofball.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh,
He's a character.
fuck. Yeah. I'm like, fucking figures, man.
He claims himself. He said himself, I'm a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, he created this fake Facebook event. Thought he was clearly being funny about it, saying, was it public event by shit posting because I'm in shambles. So clearly,
Not doing
maybe
very
not
well.
real, yeah. And it's called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us.
And what that means is, so that the whole concept here is that this dude thought it would be fun to try and get a bunch of people together to storm Area 51, which we'll get him to. I'm sure anybody that's going to listen to this and watch this knows what Area 51 is, but we'll get into that a little bit into more depth in a little bit. But his idea specifically was that if you got enough people together and they all stormed it, doing specifically the Naruto run.
All things.
It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately.
No, he did demonstrate it on the newscast as well.
Yeah, he sure did.
He went a little cockeyed, so I don't really see how that.
Yeah, that
his
wasn't.
point.
Well, exactly. It's like, look, dude, you're showing the Naruto run. You ran like 12 feet and you ran into bushes. So I don't see how that's gonna work so well when you have to run like miles. Because isn't it like miles
It's
from?
11 miles, 11,
From
13
the
miles
gate
from the border, the signs border to the gate.
Jeez. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it would have to be that, but that's.
So they're gonna have to dodge bullets for 11 miles.
It's like a half marathon or something.
Oh, easily.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a school bus, not a school bus, like a tour bus that had like 4 people in it last year, a couple years ago. And he accidentally went over the border like 2 minutes into it and they got stopped.
Yeah.
And they all got ticketed, the people in the bus and everything, because they thought they did it on purpose.
Wow.
like $650 fines, and the guy can't drive a bus for 2 years. I think he was banned from driving a bus again.
Holy shit.
But thank God it was filmed inside and outside. So they were able to take that to court because they were like, nope, you guys did it on purpose. We know you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
And they took that to court. It's like, no, look, you could physically see it was not on purpose, because they thought it was like a part of the tour and everything. They're like, oh, they set this up. This is great. And because it's like, no, this is real. Everybody out of the car. They're handcuffing us.
Jesus.
And we're all getting fined.
Wow.
Man.
So then he gets shot at. But it's because he stopped. He immediately got out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't understand how that happened. But one of the passengers asked him a question, and he was looking and answered it and totally blew past that sign. But they had him like that. But anyway, the passengers got out of the ticket, but not the driver.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, they got to kind of make an example out of the guy. There are tours that do Area 51 bus tours. They go up right to the perimeter.
Yeah, and that's what he did. He was supposed to stop, and he didn't.
Fool didn't stop.
Yep, in 2 minutes, they had him stopped. And so nobody's going to make it 11 miles.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, so we can explain, because some people, I'm sure there's going to be people that, because I know like you didn't know what it was. There's going to be people that are like, what the hell is the Naruto run?
I didn't know what that was either. I'm assuming it's some anime character.
It is Naruto, yeah. And he runs real fast, and he kind of sticks his arms out behind him. And in the cartoon, yeah, sort of like one of those crazy lizards that runs across the water. It's similar to that. It is. and he dodges. He's able to dodge bullets. They Naruto run. It's an anime thing, you know. And which, you know, I mean, even that, yet another thing that should have keyed people into, like, this is not real, because you cannot Naruto run. It doesn't really exist. Fucking people. Come on. Like, So anyway, so this dude, Matty Roberts comes up with this, and the specific details of what he said was, we're all going to meet up at the Area 51 Alien Center tourist attraction, and then we'll coordinate our entry. And then they figured, if we Naruto run, we can move faster than their bullets. Let's see them aliens. I mean,
totally legit right there.
You can't move faster than a bullet. It doesn't work. It may work in anime, which is, again,
Superman.
Yeah.
Or the Matrix or something.
Right. Which, here's the thing that all those things have in common. They're
not real.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I think we're living in the Matrix, so...
I think we're living in a fantasy world anymore, but I'll get into that later. Yeah. So the funny thing, you know, there's goofy things like this that come up all the time on Facebook and elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, man, this one just caught fire. And is, as of right now, as of today, there are 1.9 million people listed as going, with an additional 1.4 million listed as interested, which you are one of them.
I make up one of those interested people, for sure.
Yeah, I was looking it up. I was like, son of a bitch, Vito's interested in this. I should have known.
Yeah, where you're like, what kind of idiots would actually like click on this?
Oh, yeah, obviously.
And it's like, oh, well, there's Vito. Yeah, I mean, there's like an official website, which is www.stormarea51.us.
They got a pretty cool T-shirt going on.
Yeah, with the alien
doing the Naruto run, saying "I'm going." It's pretty cute, actually.
And so after this whole thing caught fire, so to speak, that might be a bad euphemism.
Yeah.
After this whole thing really caught fire, and people started saying like, hey man, you know, yeah, I'm like serious about this, and I'll die for the cause, kind of thing.
And they will.
Yeah. Maddie was like, whoa, okay, like this was supposed to be funny. So I don't know what they're gonna do now. He's been talking. He wants to make it like a fun event kind of thing, not where they're gonna actually storm the gates, but everybody will like come out and party and
meet up in the desert and have a good time.
Meet up in the desert and talk about
not get shot at,
in theory, you know, and talk about aliens and the whole concept of it and stuff. But I don't know, man. The main crux of what we're discussing here is whether or not the Area 51 raid should happen. Should it happen or should it not happen? Before we get into anything else, just kind of like we do with other stuff, I'm just going to go right around and just flat out ask, Vito, Area 51 raid, should it happen?
No.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
All right. We'll get into the whys and why nots.
Yeah, he had a look in his eyes like, so I didn't know which way he was going to go.
Does that mean I'm not going to go? Well, I don't know.
It shouldn't ought to happen. I'm going to do
it. But if
it
does, I'm going.
Megan?
I vote no.
Yeah. Yeah, I vote no.
Having a festival for it and stuff, that could be pretty cool.
Absolutely, yes.
That would have been the right way to go. That would have been the right way to go. But Vito, like, let's get some of your points. I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious, but
listen, if you guys do this, you're gonna get shot and you're gonna get killed. You may get arrested if you're lucky, but if literally thousands, because it's gonna, if not, I'm sure it's gonna be hundreds. Let's be honest here. Are trying to go storm that, and they don't stop when someone tells them to stop, they will be shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's the key. You need to stop.
Well, here's the thing. There's been a lot of talk. People saying, of course, tons of people are saying that, going, guys, you're gonna get killed, and everything. You're gonna get shot. And you're not gonna achieve anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that are saying, well, but you know what? The government doesn't want that kind of negative PR, and the uproar that would happen from it and everything. I got to be honest with you folks. I don't think the government, specifically the military, gives a fuck about negative PR.
What are they going to care if a bunch of knuckleheads go and try to ruin all of their top secret stuff, and you're gonna other nations are gonna know about it? They can't risk that,
and they can't let people do that, because then that's going to mean that they can let anybody in there, and they won't enforce the laws that they took in the oath to protect that installation in this country. Which, let's be honest, you're a terrorist at that point. If you neglect those instructions,
you're a terrorist.
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, I get it, guys. I want the information too, but that's kind of not the right way to do it, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I think I think people could get killed. Here's what I think. It's kind of my take on it is more like middle ground, I guess. I think especially, okay, if this was a surprise attack, like if the military and everybody didn't know this was going to happen, I think there'd be a lot of dead people. Because they know, because they're anticipating it and everything, they're going to be prepared to stop any goofball behavior. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get fucking choked out with gas, is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, it's a top secret military base that tests top secret equipment. They're going to have shit to stop you.
Yeah.
It may not be bullets, but they're going to stop you.
They might teleport your ass into the X dimension or some bullshit. You don't know.
You're gone.
And that would make it worth every bit. If suddenly we were like, holy shit, they have teleportation, it'd be like, all of you good people died
in vain. Not in vain.
Your death was not in vain. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for letting us know. But yeah, that would never happen. No. But they have so many. I mean, they have so many other forms of crowd control besides just getting shot. Now, that's what I'm saying. Something like that bus coming through unexpectedly all of a sudden like that. Yeah, that's a scary, dangerous situation. But they know this is going to happen. So, I mean, what are they going to do? Suddenly be like, holy shit, there's a bunch of people. Fucking duh. You've already, the Air Force has already addressed it and everything. So they're going to be prepared. They're going to have extra soldiers and everything. They're but here's my thing. All right. And I've seen other people talk about this, but when I first heard about this, my first thought was, I'm like, oh man, see, they'll never do it because they're not gonna be that awesome about it. but if the military and all of them were really fucking smart, they need to fucking punk the shit out of everybody. Because what they should do is let them think that they were getting across. Like, let them get across so far across and everything.
Yeah,
And-
move the border out. So you're already 11 miles out. Move it out another 11 miles.
But
so
like-
you're not in the border.
But like somewhere there, build a fake UFO, man. Like just have like a fake UFO there and make it like people are finding it and they'll be like, holy shit, look at that fucking, and like, you know, make it like badass with lights, have some fucking smoke, dry ice shit coming out of the bottom, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you know, like all of a sudden, like have like crazy sound, you know, like, you know, just earth shattering sound, blah, 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 and have people blown away. You know, they can have, there could be jets flying over, like have all this stuff, make it seem like people are like, holy shit, we found something. And then have like a big hatch open, like Day the Earth Stood Still style. Have a big fucking hatch open and everything. And everybody's like, holy fuck. And then right on cue.
Have a big tentacle come out and slap them all? No?
No, but they, right on cue, they can have like lights coming out and everything, and then they need to fucking play Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley as loud as they possibly can coming out of the fucking UFO and just rickroll all of them. Like they need to just be like, and
what did you think was here?
And that's kind of, I guess that's my next point. That's my next question is like, I mean, we all know, we've all heard about the Area 51 thing. I mean, this isn't a secret. I mean, and I know at one point, due to what was the thing? I think we have it in a note here. Wasn't there was an act that happened back around 2013?
2013 was the Freedom of Information Act.
That's what it was.
Where they finally confirmed Area 51 does indeed exist, and they do indeed test
top secret
military.
Now, never said anything about alien, but just top secret.
Because I think that fell under like the 70-year like declassified law or some shit like that, right? Aren't they able to like?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we still don't know. They did classify a lot about the history and of Area 51 and all that, but and some of the things they worked on in the past, but not clearly all of it.
Right. Supposedly they were actually moving stuff in the early 2000s, like out of Area 51. Like they were constructing a new site, doesn't be like Site B or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Everybody's so focused on Area 51. They're not dumb to leave actual alien. It may have started there, but alien shit ain't there no more.
Yeah, and if
they've
it
moved
is,
on. It's like underneath New York City or something. Where they're all too busy in their phones looking at their phones to notice alien walking by.
And it's not going to be the first door you open. Like it's going to be like sub-levels below, I'm sure. How are you going to get down there without a security access key card or something, you know?
Right. Exactly. They're
Like
going to
they're just walking around the base.
There's this warehouse there, and it's like we brushed through the door of the warehouse, and there was a giant alien ship. It's like, oh, come on.
We think this is Men in Black, where you just open, right? You just go through that
Captain
door. And,
Marvel.
Right, yeah.
They think it's going to be like, you know, you can easily get past the gate at, you know, in the desert and find out about the Captain Marvel thing, you know, like Nick Fury and all that in the movie. It's like that's people. It's not the way it's going to work, man.
And if anybody does by chance happen to make it to the building, I guarantee it's the way they have that thing going to blow up in their face, and they're not going to let you have that information.
But
not that you're going to get that far anyway.
Right.
But
no, I think it's impossible. I mean, if they plunged on a bus that just went past that first perimeter within 2 minutes, I mean, come on.
They need like a bulletproof one of those police cars.
And even then, I'm sure those guys have like rocket launchers.
Oh, God.
I was going to say, then they're just going to literally blow them up.
They have everything.
And you know, if you're in a crowd of 1,000 people and the minute you hear a gunshot, who else is going to start running towards that gunshot?
Well,
you know, as soon as you see the guy next to you fall, you're like, this was a bad idea. I don't think you're going to keep running.
No, they might. Some might.
That's the thing I'm more concerned about with this event. Like even... That's fine that Maddie wants to make it like just like kind of like a fun, like, hey, let's have it be peaceful. Let's not really get illegal and crazy and all this kind of stuff. But here's the problem. You get that many people together, especially under this kind of pretense like this. How many wackadoos,
especially with conspiracy theories, there's a lot of wackadoos, man,
are going to show up? How many conspiracy theorists living out in a fucking shed, McVeigh motherfuckers with weapons and whatever else that have been waiting for the moment to die.
Yeah,
for
I watched
something.
some news episodes where like the tour buses and all that stuff, they get all sorts of wackadoos coming through that. People think they're
Right.
actual aliens trying to get to the ships to go back home and shit. All these people are just going to jump all over this opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what concerns me more than anything, because all you need is for somebody there to like show up and do something crazy, and then it can turn into
Melee.
bedlam.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing worse than a crowd incident, you know, like that. That's when people get hurt and everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, being serious here for a second, that's my biggest concern. I don't think there's going to be any chance of anybody. They're going to have military out there guarding. You know, normally they don't. You know, they just have their signs and stuff. They're gonna have military there.
Well, they do have cars out there.
But I mean, they're going to be.
But it's not
amped
military. They're private sector.
Yeah, and they're a little bit
guards.
behind the gate.
Right,
too,
and
hidden
that's-
kind of
They're
thing.
like up on the hill
Right,
looking
right.
down at them.
Right, that's-
They're just gonna watch you, just make sure you don't cross.
Yeah.
The second you cross.
Here's a perfect example. I don't think you've seen it yet. You didn't see Close Encounters, right?
I don't think so. No.
Oh
No.
no, you'd know. You would fucking know, because that movie's one of the best movies of all time. So you would know. You've seen it, right?
I've seen most of it. I haven't seen it from beginning to end.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
What kind of fucking geeks do I have here?
I've tried watching it. I just kept falling asleep because I watch it at like 11 at night. It's like a 3-hour long movie.
Okay,
so-
granted, it's not anywhere near on the level of like 2001 in terms of sleepiness, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But granted, yeah, okay, I could see that. It is kind of a long movie. There's a lot of parts that you could fall asleep to. So, but oh my God, it's so good. And the end is the best part. The last half hour of that movie is fucking incredible. Well, again, and I mean, if I'm spoiling this for anybody else out there that hasn't seen fucking Close Encounters, my bad. But, you know, the concept of that movie is that the aliens are subliminally sending messages to select people, to have them all gather at Devil's Tower in Wyoming and everything. And the military finds out about it, you know, concurrently. They know this is going on, and they start to gradually realize, because there's all these kooks, so to speak, that are coming out saying, "Oh, the aliens contacted me," blah blah blah. Well, they really did. The aliens really did, and Richard Dreyfuss is one of the main ones. But the military figure it out and say, "Oh yeah, the aliens are planning on this date at this time to be at Devil's Tower." And so they end up, part of the story is they end up trying to stop all of these civilians, anybody, like, from being able to get there, because now they've made it into an Area 51 type situation, which is this giant hidden military base, landing pad thing for these aliens and stuff. And I mean, they go to great lengths. And granted, I know, just like all this other shit, it's a movie. But I think in terms of bordering more on the reality of things, it's definitely more realistic. They come up with a fake scare of that there was a neurotoxin agent that had leaked off a train, so they evacuate everybody within like 100-mile radius of there. They actually do go around and gas the animals and everything to make people think like they're dying and all this stuff. And they at one point, what I'm getting at is at one point, before it even gets to that point, but when enough of these people have started getting these subliminal messages in their head, they start having these little gatherings together, kind of like this, where like, let's all get together and meet and see if the aliens will come back. And the aliens don't come back for them. But who does show up is the fucking military and their helicopters and shit, like scaring them all up, gathering them all up and everything. I mean, like, most of the time this stuff is goofy and they don't take it seriously, but the military takes this kind of shit real seriously. And I'm saying in Close Encounters, I mean, this is stuff that wasn't even happening on a military base. It was just happening in parts of rural, America and stuff. And they were like shutting it down because there was these big groups of these wacky so-called extremist, believers. and they know that that's dangerous when you start getting that many people together and everything. So something like this on this level, even if they, you know, people sit there and go, well, it's only going to be hundreds. Even if it's hundreds, like they're not going to not take that seriously, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we love talking about this stuff, and we love the idea, like Vito, you know, like he wants to go, but he doesn't want to actually like raid the place or break any laws. He just wants to go to kind of like check it experience it, talk to other people, see what the whole thing's about. It's probably going to be goofy and fun, and that's cool. Like that's fun. And I realized this was a joke that just got away from the dude, but it's a shame that this wasn't something that was taken a little more seriously, because I think that all of this kind of stuff in general, we've talked about this before, all this kind of stuff, space travel, exploration, studying of UFOs and aliens and all this, it's been so pushed aside for a while now, other than to us geeks, really. I mean, you know, you think back in the 70s and 80s, this was mainstream stuff, you know, like this was, people were really interested in this. Our government was really trying to get out there and discover things and get to the stars, and that's all been like thrown aside because we're more concerned about, you know, the economy and North Korea and all these things that are legitimately extremely important, but people just don't think this stuff is important anymore.
And it is.
and it is. And so it was weird. It was like when I first heard about this, I guess the thing that struck me dumb, you know, struck me funny, wasn't all the goofy shit that came up with it, because it doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, that, you know, that there's actually people that think you can Naruto outrun bullets and stuff. But I was really surprised that like this became such a thing, you know what I mean? I'm like, does anybody care about Area 51 anymore? Apparently a lot of people do.
What I was surprised to learn looking up all this stuff was how often this kind of thing's been in the news throughout the years.
Okay.
And I really don't ever recall hearing about it. I mean, maybe not news, but it's been in the news, documentaries and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I didn't even... Other than I didn't really know Bob Lazar until we did our alien one before.
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, which was fucking awesome.
Really,
dude?
I missed that.
Dude, it was fucking awesome, man.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, I just watched a documentary on Netflix with him. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, they were talking about that documentary, and the director was on the show with them. And it was really cool. Yeah, you guys gotta check it out, man. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved it.
Now.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
So there's definite interest in it, and more and more scientists are coming forward saying, hey, I was there. I was working on an alien spacecraft. I was working with live aliens named freaking J-Rod.
J-Rod, yeah.
Isn't that like Jennifer and A-Rod?
Isn't it?
Named like J-Rod. So they're aliens.
Like J-Lo and A-Rod?
Yes. And they're named J-Rod. It could be wrong, but I thought that was pretty funny. Because apparently in like 1970 or whatever, this 71-year-old man...
Mechanical engineer.
In the 50s, he said he's working with this J-Rod. And this other guy came out in 2004 and said he worked with the alien named J-Rod. How the fucking old is this alien?
Well, it's an alien.
Yeah,
I mean.
some of these guys I'm sure are bullshit artists. Probably all of them.
Yeah, I was wondering if those two were.
Because there was a underground military base called Dulce Base in Dulce, New Mexico, where supposedly they were doing alien, human, and animal hybrids way underground. And this guy said there was an alien-human war, and that's how he lost all these fingers from a laser blast. He later on got murdered under suspicious circumstances.
Really?
Yeah. I can't remember his name right now, but yeah, he would go around and talk about these alien human
I think
wars.
his name was Stubby.
Just call me Stubby.
Sorry.
But real or not real, it still shows that there is interest in that.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's interest, but...
And it's just like such a cool name, like Area 51. It's got this sexy, like, automatic conspiracy theory linked to that cool name. So it's like you want to talk about it and make up stories and what ifs about what could be there. It just...
Which there's no even real history or anything on why it's called Area 51. Because they don't even call it Area 51, do they?
No, there's like Groom Lake, Dreamland, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if you look at an aerial map from that time, they basically just sectioned off the state of Nevada
Mhm.
And this was
Okay.
Area 51. This was Area 7. This was
Oh,
Area
I see.
whatever.
Okay.
So they just decided, well, we're building a base here. So people just called it, that because that was the area
That was the grid.
sectioned. Yeah.
Got it.
So.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And apparently they were giving it these other fancy names like Dreamland and all that as a way to make it more enticing
For people to come live out there and work on the base.
to work there. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, sure, I live in the middle of the desert where absolutely nothing's at.
Because the workers have to go to an airport in Vegas, get on a specific airliner, fly out, then get on a bus, then go into the actual installation.
Right.
So,
I read some like flying from California even.
Wow.
They work there Monday through Friday and they fly back to California for the weekend and then come back and they stay on base.
I mean, that makes sense. What's that, like an hour flight? 2-hour flight maybe from Cali to Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a short flight. Yeah.
Because you can drive to Vegas in like 4 or 6 hours, can't you?
It depends. Yeah, from like the coast, from like LA.
Yeah.
It's like a 5-hour ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. So here's my thing. I know we kind of said, see, because I go back and forth on this. I know we said, oh, but people you're going to raid and you're not going to find anything. Do you really think you're not going to find anything there? Because I'm not sure about that. Now here's the thing. Okay, hang on. Let me make a caveat on that. Okay, is somebody who Naruto runs, even if you could do that, which you can't, because it's not real.
In theory, let's just say.
In theory, if
Benefit
you could,
of the doubt.
if you could be the one guy that got past everything, and you Matthew Broderick War Games that shit, right? And you got past and you just ran into some building there, are you gonna find something? No, I don't think it's that simple. You know what I mean? But I don't know that the government would still be keeping it under such tight wraps. You know what I mean? Like they're still real fucking tight about that place. So there's something that tells me there's something they don't want you to know.
I think it's a smokescreen. It's like, okay, let's tighten this down. Everybody focus on this area. Meanwhile, we've moved it all over here. You guys just stay focused over here.
That's pretty.
Meanwhile, really everything's over here.
You know what, Meg? That is a super valid.
Because we're all fucking stupid and we'll fall for it.
Because we're sitting here doing this
every day.
Yeah, that's really valid. Yeah, and and especially with as much attention as it has been put on this place, the idea that they would just leave it there.
Mm-hmm. It's like I think maybe it may have started there, had something there
in the
at some
50s
point
and 60s,
in the 50s, 60s, whatever. But I don't think it's there anymore. They're not going to risk somebody fucking Naruto running into it or something.
Yeah.
Or like the whole fucking world knows Area 51 is aliens. Top secret shit.
Yeah, I think
that's where they're going to go. They're not going to go over here.
Right. To Utah
so that's
or whatever.
Okay. Make this our little...
Yeah, I think
our little
once
guy.
I think
everybody thinks it's there.
Right, I think once it became known.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people have sat there and said, "Oh yeah, but that's why it's the best thing to keep it there because it seems too obvious." Mm-hmm. So it's
you're hiding it in plain sight.
Hiding in plain sight. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. You might be right. That might be too risky to take that chance on. That people are just gonna,
unless there is some kind of nuclear accident like Chernobyl where that whole place is now irradiated and they can't let anybody within an 11-mile radius of that place or else.
But people are going in and out of all the time to work.
Unless they're going to a different facility that's not in the heart of that or something. Or maybe those flights aren't even happening anymore. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Or they're just drones that they're flying in to cover up the accident, you know?
Right. Taking a little bit of a right turn here, or a left turn, or just a
U-turn,
going through a roundabout or something. But what do you think about the fact that so many people actually think like this could work, this raid? What does that say about people nowadays, man?
They're disillusioned.
I don't think people.
I mean, what happens at these like Million Man marches or a Women's Day march or whatever? Like, if those turn violent in the city of Chicago, like, what happens? You know, the police, they gas people? As soon as the gas comes, you're probably going to run. I don't think you're going to keep going.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Well, but my point is see, you're okay, but you're bringing up a rational, realistic, real world thought into this, and what I'm saying is it seems like a lot of people, and I'm not talking to people about the people that are joking around, you know. But I mean, I'm talking about, and there's like a fair
that are
amount
willing to literally die for this.
Because I've seen a lot of people, like a pretty fair amount of people, that are like trying to rationalize this out, and they're like, well, okay, you know, maybe we could do this, you know, maybe this could work, blah blah blah. Like, I think it's indicative of a lot of people nowadays, I don't think understand how things really work. And I don't think that they're dealing with reality a whole lot. I think that they're I think they've been brought up so much in a world of anime and video games and gaming and cosplay and MCU movies and all this other stuff. I mean, we love all that stuff too. I fucking love it. It's great. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's bad for you.
But we know where that line is. You know, these guys are kind of...
I was going to say, it's one thing to enjoy it as entertainment value and stuff like that. It's another thing to have it immerse your life, and that is who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of people that don't understand that it's not... It's like they know it's not real, and yet they still sort of, I don't know. It's almost like if we believe in it enough, maybe it'll become real. It's like, no, man. I wish.
That works.
I wish, because I always wanted that shit to be real. I want magic to be real. I want superhuman powers and mutants to be real. You know, that's part of why we do this show, is because we like to talk about those things and think, could it be real? And there's certain things that make me go, like we've discussed when we've talked about this shit in the past, you know, where we've said, could mutants exist? Could superheroes possibly exist? Well, maybe if there's experimentation, there's different things. But ultimately, no, you know, you're not going to be able to do this the way you think you're doing it. And I also think that it kind of goes to with a lot of people nowadays, where I think that they think if 50,000 of us came and we stormed the place, we'd make it happen. And it's like, no, you wouldn't make it happen. It's like everybody they're so carried away nowadays with that sort of thinking, you know. I mean, protests and all these other things. I'm not, before people get their panties in a bunch, I'm not anti-protest. Protests can be very good. But I think that to a certain degree, people have gotten a little bit unrealistic with their expectations of what you're going to achieve with that.
Because it's usually nothing.
It's usually nothing, and a lot of times...
It usually does more harm to your cause than good, you know?
Right. Because it doesn't take many bad apples to spoil the bunch. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take many people to spoil the party. I'm like I said, I'm more disturbed by the idea that there's people that really think they could actually make this work. I'm like, oh man, like, please don't try. Everybody.
The only way I can see this happening is if you literally got, like, let's say half the population of America. And even then, you wouldn't.
Even then,
what would happen? Like,
even then, I mean, that's what, you know. That's why our government. I mean,
they have helicopters with missiles. They'll just missile
bombs.
I mean, they have to. You can't just let 150 million people. I don't know how many people are in America right now, but it's.
And worrying about well, it's bad PR and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, okay. I think our government's already kind of proved right now that they don't give a shit about bad PR. We're our whole world day in day out seems to revolve around bad PR. Like they don't care about that anymore.
Bad PR is good PR.
Yeah,
there is no bad PR
anymore. That seems to be the case. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guess my message I'm sending. Hopefully nobody that's listening to this would really truly consider it anyway. But honestly, I'm just sending this out. Uncle Lair's sending this out to you kids. Like, don't try it. If you want to go out there and check it out, have a good time, you people, man, by all means, please, bring attention to the topic of aliens and all that stuff. Alien exploration. This alien expires on August 6th. Better get a new one.
Hopefully that's not why they want to rate it. It's to expire all the aliens.
The aliens are expiring. Come on. They're going to replace them with new aliens. It's not nearly as good. Like New Coke. Like, oh, these aliens suck. But anyway, just, by all means, man, I think it's, like I said, it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, I'm like so glad to see that people still care about this and talk about it, but this is in the wrong way, Problem is that they're also wrapped up in a lot of misinformation.
Social media is a lot of misinformation.
Right.
That's what Bob Lazar talked about in that Netflix thing I watched. It's like there's so much bullshit now for you to weed through. You don't even know what's real and what's not real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They could just throw it all out there just to throw you all over the place.
And what if the government planted that bullshit?
Yeah.
Well, see, people sit there and say, that's stupid. That's unrealistic. It's like, no, it's is it though? It's folks, it's really not, because there have been many times in the past where it's not even theory or conspiracy theory. It's been proven fact that the government did in fact engage in tactics like that, where they put out false flags and false information and stuff to throw people off and to bombard them with bad
or for their own agenda,
right?
know?
Yeah, people think our government would never do something like that. It's like, listen, man, all governments do things like that.
Yeah.
Every one of them, and I get it sometimes, like I'm not even sitting here being like Mr. Anti-Government or anything. It's like, I get it. Like, see, you guys are different from me, and we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like, Vito is like, I want to fucking know at all costs. Dude, if we have this technology, if we've met aliens, we have aliens, like, I want to fucking know. And my thing is like, I don't know if I want to know. Like, I do, but it would depend on what it is I would know. Because if it was something where it was like, okay, well, here's the good and the bad news. If the CIA came out, CIA director came out and he was a cool dude. Like, what's his face? It was on Rogan sometimes. Mike. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. If he came out and he was just like, all right, look, here's the deal. Good news and bad news. The good news is this, folks. We know that aliens exist. We've met them, and they've been here and everything. So yeah, that's legit. There is a life on other planets, and we'd all be like, holy shit, fuck yeah. I mean, Vito'd be high-fiving and he'd be like, all right, well, here's the other deal. So they vastly outnumber us, and they have shit tons of weapons that can vaporize us, and they want to come down here and harvest us because they like to eat anuses. Okay, they eat human anus. None of the rest of us, and they like it when it's still warm. So they cut your anus out of you with a laser, and they eat your anus in front of you while you slowly bleed to death out of your.
But if it's a laser, wouldn't that cauterize it?
This is alien technology, Megan. This laser does not cauterize.
Okay.
They've developed that.
I'm
tech.
sorry, that just threw me off.
Well, I mean,
non-cauterizing laser.
Here's the thing. It would, in theory,
it's a cold laser. Actually,
it would, in theory, yeah, could be a cold laser. It would, in theory, cauterize. It could cauterize as it cuts, but then, I mean, there'd be so much. If your whole anus got cut out of you, I mean, there's no surviving that. So my point is, if you were to find out that we were on the verge of being attacked by anus-eating aliens, I don't know. I don't know if I want to know that. I don't need to sit around worrying about that happening. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just live in my ignorant bliss, you know? And I just kind of, I guess people say, well, you're naive. But I guess to a certain degree, I trust our government enough, just enough to say, if they're not telling us things, then there's like a reason for it. I know everybody automatically assumes the reason is some nefarious thing, you know, because it's like we're, you know, it has something to do with military technology and money and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times that the governments a lot of times don't let us know about shit because they know that we'd all completely just collapse into chaos if we knew. You know, I mean, I think that happens on a fucking weekly basis. I think there are terrorist attacks and all sorts of other things that they stop that
we never know about.
We will never know about. Or maybe we'll hear about it 100 years from now when they open up some file and be like, hey, you know, in 2012, there were bombs planted underneath John Hancock and Willis Tower and stuff, and they found
would
it
have wiped
in time.
Chicago completely off the map.
Not even just government stuff, like with social media now, anybody has a phone with a camera in it, they can videotape something that's happening that you have never have known 15, 20 years ago on the news, because that shit just didn't exist, you know?
Well, I mean, that's a whole, and I won't go down that rabbit hole, but that's a whole other thing, you know? That's what I explain to people a lot of times when people will argue about things are so out of control nowadays. Like, there's so much more this and there's so much more that, and I'm like, no, there's not.
It's easier to pass information now. That's all.
You just hear about it so much more. You know, people, there's so much police brutality nowadays. It's like, oh, let me tell you something. As a kid who grew up in a family of all police and got to hear all sorts of stories that, you know, from both sides of the story. Like, let me tell you, there is not more police brutality these days, folks. You just didn't hear about it back then.
Or if you think there's more now, it's just because they showed a clip where they edited it and they started it right when he got hit in the face.
Right. Well, yeah.
What happened?
Yeah,
before
we're
he got
not
hit
going
in
to
the
get. We're not going to go down that road
That's
right
a whole
now.
rabbit hole, yeah.
That's a whole other thing that does happen, but there is a lot of police brutality still that does happen out there. It is a fact. I mean, we can't pretend it doesn't happen. You know,
I think a conspiracy theory we should be talking about is, what if this Matty Roberts guy is a plant by someone who wants to start an alien convention in the desert just outside Area 51?
I was going to say, what if this is all a ploy?
Either Matty Roberts has a book he wants to write, and this is a whole publicity stunt.
Wait. Okay, here. If you had, because I don't think you have, if you'd watched any of the interviews with Matty Roberts,
I haven't seen anything.
I guarantee you, the concept of writing a book has never crossed this kid's mind, unless it was
but it will now. When he's older, he will.
Yeah. When he
grow up a little bit,
right? Maybe in 20 years, if he's lucky. You know, when that job at fucking GameStop finally fucking peters out.
Does he work at GameStop?
No, I don't know, but
he's being mean for no reason.
Am I really being mean for no reason? Yeah, see, people at home, you can't see the face she's making. He's a kid. I know.
20 years old, you said?
Hey, man. Hey. I have a feeling that if you
he
talk...
has no idea when he did that.
You know, when I was 20, I would have wanted to raid Area 51 in a fucking heartbeat, man. I'm telling you.
Here's the other fucking thing then,
when
folks.
you're 20, you want to do it now. Shush.
Well, I still want to do it now, but I'm smart enough not to do it because I know I get shot. When I was 20, I probably would have joined and tried to run across that fucking border as fast as I could.
And you know, I got
point made.
I got two things to say.
Checkmate.
I got two things to say right now. Okay, first of all, saying that this kid might work at GameStop for the next 20 years is not an insult. That could be okay. And he seemed like the kind of kid that would be into that.
He would enjoy it. Yeah, it looked like he might enjoy that.
He was on the news wearing a fucking cape and a metal headband.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this interview now.
Okay, so it's not like I'm just, being a real bastard here.
I said in the beginning, he admitted he's a little weird. He said that himself.
But I'm just saying, I'm just saying I don't see him being the kind of guy that's going to be into a conspiracy theory like that. I guess the thing is like what Vito said. I mean, maybe this kid can turn this around into something positive because, it would be cool for them to do some sort of convention, like a proper get together, like a Coachella kind of thing or something, but not just based around a bunch of fucking dirt heads smoking pot and being filthy and listening to really shitty music for the most. Some of it's good, but a lot of it's shit. And actually get together, to talk about something that's like nerdy and legit, because this is the kind of thing that, it can be just for weirdos like me with long hair and metal headbands and capes and stuff, but it can also appeal to, astrophysicists and stuff who go, yeah, this is pretty cool. Like, I'd love to see more people get invested in science.
Like real science people
real
speaking
science,
out.
Yes, exactly. And this might, if it brings more attention to that, then great. I just hope, I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's all Maddie wants. He doesn't want to see anybody get hurt. He did not expect people to reach out to him.
Well,
like, man, I'll die for this.
Well,
whoa, back up, dude.
And then I'll probably kind of end all my soapbox ranting on this note, okay? To sound like the curmudgeonly old man that I am, but no, in all seriousness, trying to pass on a little sage advice, okay? Here's
Uncle
the
Larry
thing.
again.
Yep, Uncle Larry's got another one for you again. So here's the thing. Like, even the term, like shit, I was just shit posting, and I was just being a troll and I was just blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, see, folks, this is the problem with that, because even when you're shit posting, even when you're being an anonymous troll, even when you're whatever, you're just having a laugh fucking with somebody, like your words are still like legitimately going out there, and your intention may be one thing, but the way it's going to impress upon somebody else out there is another thing. And I think that it's one thing, like there's things that even the three of us in this room will sit here and like joke with each other and fuck with each other about that we wouldn't necessarily put out there in public. And not saying because it's like, oh my God, like things we're saying or doing are so socially acceptably unacceptable, so wrong. I don't mean that, but I mean just people interpret things differently. And this kid made something that he assumed people would know was just a shit post that was just being stupid, blah, blah, blah. But it just goes to show that there's a lot of people out there who don't see it that way.
Especially when it's written in written form. You're not seeing him speak about it.
Right.
At first. Now he's speaking, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's just a fucking goofball or whatever.
Right.
But when you're just typing something and writing, people don't always take that in the right context,
Well,
Yeah.
and it's playing telephone too, because what happens is the initial guy did it and he's obviously goofy and his buddies saw it and they thought it was funny, and then he told somebody that he knew and that guy told somebody blah blah blah, and by the time it got passed on about 10 dozen times or something, it gets to somebody who doesn't know this kid, doesn't know where it can, and is like, that's actually not a bad idea, man. That whole thing, because I'm like way into this stuff, and I never thought about that. What if we did get like a whole mob together and actually mob the place? Like, yeah, okay, bro, I realize I can't Naruto run and everything, but if we were able to get 50,000 people, like we might be able to make this happen. Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, yeah. You know what? I've got a friend that's like really active in this stuff, and he's got this conspiracy website. And he's like, I'm going to spread this on to him. And so all I'm saying is it's cool to shit post and have fun now and then and everything, but you do have to think, just for the younger people out there, you do have to think about your words. Once you put something out there publicly like that, do you disagree, Meg?
No, I agree. I was just thinking that whenever I first heard about it, because I started seeing the memes and stuff first, I was like, what is everybody talking about? And then I saw somewhere, it's like, people are actually looking to raid Area 51. I was like, oh my God, this is real. And then I started looking into it more. I was like, oh, this is just a joke. But I didn't know that at first.
Right.
So I could see your point.
Right. Kids sit there and go, well, it's just a shit post. It was a fucking obvious joke. Sometimes it's not obvious, man.
With not so great social media posting comes great responsibility.
Right. Exactly. Leave it to Vito to just sum it all up. Yes, that needs to be a shirt. That's
a Vito tip right there.
That needs to be a Vito's tip. With not so great social media posting comes great responsibility. You know, i.e., you're fucking up, bro. You know, it's like. But anyway, yeah, we're coming to the end of this. I think we've talked enough about it. But
beat this horse to death.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if a gathering still happens, if this still maintains steam or not.
If this still has some steam the next couple weeks, I might seriously look into like how much it would cost to fly out there for the day or the weekend, and just for the festival.
I think it'd just
obviously
be fun for us to go to Rachel and to the alien exhibits and all that stuff that are there. And actually go see the sign. I think that would just be fun.
Roswell, man, if we made a trip to like Roswell, Rachel, Nevada, whatever, Dulce, New Mexico, like that would be amazing.
Wow.
That would be so
That would
cool.
be fun. We would, oh my God, I can't even imagine what we would do.
Well, you guys have fun with
Come
that.
on.
It's the desert.
So?
There's scorpions.
It's a dry heat. You're fine.
Scorpions.
Oh, are we back to this again?
Snakes.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Spiders.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Dehydration.
there's water and bug spray.
Dust. You know.
What are those tarantula wasps or whatever those are?
Fuck those.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know if
but
it says what
all I know
called,
it's called a tarantula wasp. I don't want to even know about it.
That's all you need to know.
Oh my God.
They're supposed to be like the most painful sting like in the entire world.
I know
or
what you're
number
talking
3
about.
Or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it's up there. Like with those crazy ants.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff.
bullet ants, I
Oof.
think, or something, right?
Fuck that. But anyway.
Well, me and Vito are going to Egypt and Nevada, apparently.
Well, you guys go to all the fucking dangerous deserts all you want, and I'm going to stay here at home with my Gatorade Zero and my air conditioning and the internet and just being all right. But here's the thing, folks. I'll tell you this right now. If Vito and or Meg decide to go out and actually check this thing out, if it becomes like a legit festival,
you'll hear from us.
You need to check back because we will do. It might be time to resurrect our news segment that we did that we haven't done in a while, and we will do like a whole like report about it and have Vito and or Meg be the reporters on the scene, and that could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, even if you guys don't go, I'm sure we'll talk about it more and everything. But,
yeah, if it becomes more of a thing.
So. Anyway, folks, thank you for listening to our goofy, discussion and theorizing about all of this and stuff and my soapbox bullshit as usual. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm a lecturer, okay? But so thanks as usual. Thanks for checking it out. Make sure you check out our other stuff. I'll have in video links and stuff to like other things because we've talked about some of these topics a little bit before. So if you're interested in hearing us talk about any more of it, there are links there. And as always, we appreciate your support and your time. And make sure you check back with us. So Nanu, Mork from Mork, checking out here. Dude, what if they found Mork? Like, what if you found out that, like, Mork, like, Robin Williams based Mork on an actual alien, and you went in there and you just found some fucking asshole in rainbow suspenders and a big egg.
Big egg.
Like, and a big egg that he flew around to talking to fucking Orson.
I want to know if they have Alf.
Alf.
Love Alf.
Man.
If there's no cats around there, then they have an Alf.
That's true.
Explain a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
If there's no Chinese restaurants, it's got to be Alf then.
Yep. Alf and Mork.
Mm-hmm.
Tearing shit up in the desert. Well,
We'll find out.
Yeah, that's a whole...
September 20th.
We'll leave you on that cliffhanger. Are Alf and Mork hanging out in the desert, eating Chinese and cats and just talking all sorts of goofy shit? More on that later. And now, here's something else. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.